Well, my guest for the morning, Alhaji Abubakar Sadiq Boniface, is a former Minister for Works and Housing. And thanks for joining me. He is currently the MPP's parliamentary candidate for Medina. Congratulations on you winning that very primary as well.
Thank you.
And also, we have Alhaji Ibrahim Dey Abubakar, Member of Parliament for Salaga South, on the following committees in Parliament: Local Government and Rural Development, and the Public Accounts Committee. They do the various inquisitions into the public accounts as published by the Auditor General, so to speak.
No, we examine. We don't do inquisitions.
Okay. What do you do then?
We examine.
You examine?
Yes.
Okay, so your word is
inquisition more than...
all right. Okay. Inquisition is more investigative, right? Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for joining me, gentlemen.
Yes.
And where were you over the weekend? How was your weekend?
Oh, good.
It was good?
Yes,
were you in
more
Accra?
relaxed. No, I wasn't in Accra. I was in Kumasi.
Okay.
To attend a friend's father-in-law's funeral.
All right. Yes. Okay. You politicians are always busy up and down.
Sure.
Getting a lot
Every
more
minute
calls.
counts.
You see? All right. And where were you also over the weekend?
I was at home.
Okay. Oh, this time you try. You didn't travel over the weekend because usually you have traveled and come in on Monday. I know.
I was home.
Good that we have you in the studio then. I have to. There's an ongoing issue about candidates who will be sitting their BECE today because there's a reschedule and they are supposed to be writing 5 papers in the next 2 days. It's also because, well, the earlier examinations were cancelled because of leakages that had been suspected and widely reported by the media and also press releases from the West African Examination Council. And so now the students will have to bear the brunt. But it's also because things hadn't been done right at the West African Examination Council. And so this very recent. I go with you, sir. How do you think we need to make sure forthwith we put in place the necessary measures so that we don't have extreme leakages of the examination news papers?
Well, first of all, we should ask ourselves why the leakages. Is it the condition of service to the teachers, such that sometimes they have to sell examination papers? Or is it that something special is not happening to the people in West Africa Exams Council? You see, and again, you can also see a lot of schools who say, look, this institution, when your child comes, it gets 100%. So we need to look at all those things and then put in the necessary measures, you know, because I don't understand why in recent past, almost every year we have examination leakages. So it tells you that something actually is happening. Is it that, like I said, the condition of service of the teachers, the invigilators, at the end of the day, how does it leak from the, I mean, what do you call it, West Africa Examinations Council to the students? Sometimes does it happen there or it happens even in the institution? Because when they bring the exam papers, either they send it to the police station or they have a hard room where they lock it. How does it come out? Do you need to come in with a new system where exam papers have to come from West Africa Examinations Council on the very day by flying it across the country? All these things we need to look at it. But I believe part of it has to do with the conditions of service. Because if probably I don't have a better service condition, then one takes the opportunity to say, okay, fine, this is the right time. Let me do it once and for all. You take risk for greater rate of return. So if you do that, but if you put in the structures, proper structures, I will tell you that, look, I pay this gentleman, let's say 10 CDs a month, and he's satisfied. He gets proper conditions of service. Nobody will come and influence the man at the West Africa Exams Council or the teacher or the invigilator. So these are some of the things we should be thinking about, not necessarily the leakages, because there's nothing that happens. No smoke without a source of fire. Sometimes you see leaking because you have maybe a lecturer inviting the student, saying that he is a special teacher to the student, and then we'll prepare certain questions. And you go in the following day, say, Jack, all the questions that my teacher predicted has come. You know, because, well, sometimes we have good teachers who will look at past questions and look at the most recurrent exam questions.
Do proper analysis of the
and
questions.
do proper analysis of the question.
And be able to predict.
The past students were not answering that question very well. That is why it keeps recurring. And so if the teacher is very fast, he will do a proper analysis of those questions for his students. But what I feel so bad is to do with the kids. Because right now, the trauma that they have gone through, the social trauma, you know, right now they're going back to write. Their thinking level will come down. Because the gentleman had prepared so much. You know, it's like you preparing for a particular topic and you go and different thing happens. You get confused. What happens if they go and what they have been anticipating does not happen? It means somebody who was supposed to get A today is going to get D or F. You have changed the life cycle of the student completely. So you see, it's a two-way pronged system that we need to look at carefully, because these children are the future of the economy. They are the economic assets, and so we should not toy with their lives. They are not guinea pigs. It's like using them for some experiment, and I don't think it's fair.
Your own observation about how you felt about the leakages and subsequently what the Honourable Member is saying, what also need to be done to pep the students up, because psychologically they'll be traumatized or not be in their best shape as far as confidence is concerned.
Thank you very much. First, greetings to you and your able staff, and greetings to the people of Salga South constituency and Ghanaians in general. Yeah, like my senior colleague have said, I just want to, but the leakages has been with us long times. Even when I was doing my A-level in the 70s, not a hat, I will never, but I can tell you that people had, and this girl, it has been in the 70s. And for me, the simple thing is, I keep on telling you this, and I told you, when people find fault of the law, they are not there to serve as a deterrent. But once that is not done, we will continue having this incoming, we'll sit here and talk. Now I'll go on with this. But this has been all along. All along, maybe one paper, two paper, now it's 5 papers, maybe who knows. By next year, maybe this is, and to continue to go on. And like I explained, there are many factors that come to the reason why these leakages are. We may not know the reason, they are current investigation, but the solution is that when the people are caught, are they punished in accordance to the law to serve as a deterrent? That is what I understand is. Are they punished to serve as a deterrent in such a way that tomorrow, when even I will not even behave that way? Look, you see, in other jurisdictions, when you commit foul of the law, whether it's 10 years or 20 years, and they're able to trace it to you, they will make sure that they will deal with you in accordance to the law in such a way that I'm not tempted to do it because I know what has happened. That is one. Because when you look at this thing, it has been happening in the past. Maybe it has been increasing, but it has been increasing because when somebody does it and get away with it, then the next person thinks that, oh, I can also do it. Then the next one I'll put is that let's look at the other side. Why would a parent want to start training his child to learn how to cheat? Why would a parent want to go and buy papers and give to the child? Is that the way you want to educate your child? To grow with, learning how to cheat? No, let ask that question. Why would a parent, if you're really a parent, wants to train your child? Is that the way Ghanaians have come to? That I'm interested to buy a paper and give to my child to learn how to cheat at that tender age? Is that what you want to inculcate into the mind of your children? So as much as this will, because, excuse me, a well-educated parents, please, I use the well-educated and not schooling. There's a difference between education and schooling. People go to schooling. Well-educated parent will not, even when you get the paper free, will not give it to. Will not give it to the child.
But whichever parent, whoever has principles.
I beg to differ.
Don't worry, I'll come to you on that, because you raise an issue in your
most parents, yes, I am telling you that, excuse me, we have a bad nurse, but a lot of parents, 80% are principled and well educated. Because what is happening in our country is that because we are not able to deal with people who are wrong, the bad nurse have taken over as if they are more. They're just like one granite in the mouth full of granite. I believe those who are bad are just few.
And so they have to be punished to serve a deterrent.
If they are caught.
They have to be punished to serve a deterrent.
So the point I'm making here is that that is on the other side. of stopping. The other side is that what kind of education do we have that we want to inculcate in our children, that I would like to even train my child how to cheat from when he's a tender age of 15 or 12 years, to learn how to cheat to grow. When he grows, he becomes what? Remember what the Bible says. Train the child the way you want, and when he grows, he never depart from it. If you train your child to become a thief, he grows to become a thief. So we have a responsibility to, as far as, so I mentioned two things. On the side of the West Africa, whatever it is, and go, or the side of the institution involved, whenever these things happen, do we go to the root cause of the problem, and when the people are caught, are they punished accordingly to serve as a deterrent? And the second is the parents to have a role inculcating some moral decline into the mind of their people.
Sorry, you raised a critical issue, Alhaji Sadiq.
Yeah.
The subject about how schools want the bulk of their students to pass, and sometimes you say they advertise and say you give us 100% rate.
And you see,
the thing I wanted to add, as you add this, is that we have a societal problem. Because everybody wants their children to go to the best schools, Navasco, Tamasco, Infante, Machimota, wherever it is that they have to go. As a result of that, there's always a struggle to make sure that the best always comes out of the final examinations.
Yeah, I mean, you see, when you're talking of well-distinguished institutions like Tamasco, Ganasco, Achimota, Infansipim, Presec, in fact, if you get to those institutions, the masters, the tutors, they work very hard. During my national service, I taught in my former school, Tamasco. And before I got there, the best in economics was a D. But I took the challenge to assure the institute and the students that we'll make sure that the best, the worst will be a D. And that exactly happened. Because we worked hard. I didn't care about any leakages. All the past questions, 10 years, I managed to work everything for them. And see, when the student walks into the examination room, he walks with confidence. He doesn't care wherever the questions might be coming from. But the point is that sometimes we should not blame the parents. I don't think it's the parents that influence the people, the students. It depends on the parent, like he said. It depends. Because once I have my child and I know how he is, and looking at his results, I go straight to his school and ask behind him what happens. At the end of the day, you realize that you are very, very confident that
during
your child
the period of the reports.
But the parent usually
there were
does
parents
not
who came out and said, well, my child came to me and claimed that there were papers around, so I should give him or her 200 Ghana cedis, etc. And they gave out the money and said,
good. The papers were circulating about, not that they were bringing to the parent to buy.
Well, sure. Not as if it was generated somewhere. Yes, I get your point.
And you see, like the Honorable Day said, leakages used to happen even in the 60s. But hardly will you hear that thing is flooded.
But now what has...
But I'm surprised. One, you see, normally we always say shortcuts. And shortcuts are always dangerous. What I mean shortcuts in quotes is that people want the cheapest way of getting to the top. You need to work hard for it. You see how it is? You need to work for it. But at the end of the day, sometimes the other side also want to take the vulnerability of the student. You see how it is? And the parent. The child will just come because every day they give them bills to come. So all they have to come and tell you is that, mommy or dad, this is what happened. We have some papers. They say we should pay this amount of money, but they want to take us through. They won't tell you leakage. They will tell us there are some questionnaires that they want to.
But now technology also seems to have hastened the process, because now you just put it on WhatsApp.
And it's gone. But they are not allowed to take, that is the point. You see, so if it happens in the engine room, okay, and the fellow just
doing printing,
exactly, printing room, you take the picture with this modern technology, with the latest, what do you call it, phones. My brother, it's dangerous.
Because we all use smartphones now.
I think we are not. You see, when we want to solve the problem, I keep on saying, I repeat that. First and foremost, you know, it's growing. Maybe next year is going to be the whole papers. Now we are at 5. It's growing. And we need to stop it ourselves that let's, for example, what has happened right now. You the papers, normally when issue comes, sensational, you blow it on the front page. Within a few days, it dies out. Nobody knows what happened. Nobody knows what happened. But it's your duty to trace. Let's investigate. If I am calling for, maybe I use a platform. The Ministry of Education can set up its independent BNI. When the report is that it should be laid in Parliament, the Committee on Education should sit public hearing. Are you getting the point? I was saying public hearing. So that we know, we must get the root cause of this, and then those people dealt with properly to serve as a deterrent. I use the word deterrent. You know, our laws have never been, we have enough laws to punish, but because of lack of implementation. And then the secondly to morally parents, excuse me, I sit here will never, even my daughter will never come. My daughter is writing, but she go this morning. So she would dare not come to me with a paper that's all right. So parents have a moral right. Is it a passion of aid that only makes society? People have dropped out and been legated, become more successful society. You don't even need to become a first class to succeed in society.
Gladys is at the conduct cluster of schools and monitoring the situation there for us. As far as this morning's papers are concerned, speaking to one of the supervisors for the examinations.
Candidates now.
And looking from how they're comporting themselves, how they're carrying themselves, do you think they are ready?
Yes, we are yet to actually get the number because we have not started. I cannot say whether all of them are in. So until we start, then I will be able to know the number exactly as they wrote at the beginning, the 355 students, if they are all here.
Are the papers in?
Not yet.
What time is it coming? What time is the exam actually starting?
We are to write it at 9 o'clock. So now we are still preparing the place to start it at 9.
Okay. Your name, sir?
Boaz Hayford.
Right, so that is the supervisor, Boaz Hayford, for the conduct cluster of schools. They are expecting about 355 students, but of course, until the paper starts, they won't be able to say exactly the number because some children may not even come today. They have about 5 papers to write. Let's get to talk to some of the students and gauge their mood and how prepared they are. Hello, come. How are you? Oh, you will not talk to me. Okay, would you talk to me? Yes. You will not? Wow. Okay, so earlier on I was told that they've been asked not to talk to any media because they are likely to send out information that is not approved. But I still would get to the classroom where some of them are, you know, grabbing their last sentences, their last apple, as you would say. Well, I'll get there and talk to a few of them and see if they will talk to us actually.
Well, so Gladys already there and giving us all the updates as far as what is happening for this morning's papers. We know that 5 papers come into a period of 2 days following those leakages, and so they have to deal with it somewhat. But Bax, they were discussing about the children in the communities, and you are worried that many of them can write, especially in the rural areas where they have to walk long distances but also cross rivers and streams and things like that. It will become extremely difficult.
Yeah, very. And I would like, after this event, the Ministry of Education to come out with the statistics, those who at first wrote and those who have written out, for us to know the fallout. Because I am saying this because, like I'm talking to you.
It's a registered examination, so why would somebody not write?
Because he hasn't got the means. As I'm talking right now, in my Salga constituency, Salga South, I have 70 to 100 children from the overseas, where I come from. And I have to pay their feeding, their lodging and everything for the 10 days, which costed 3,700 Ghana cedis, 37 million old cedis. As I'm talking, so imagine there's nobody to do this for them. What will have happened? And I believe there are others from the overseas, those who have to walk sometimes even 20 miles to come. Imagine the 10 days you couldn't stay in the big town. Who is going to feed him and he has gone back? He will not come back. He will not. Who bear the cost? In fact, there's a real problem on this, what has happened. And I think that West Africa should have been made to reimburse parents or children who are far away. And this can be done easily because they can be identified where they come from, every district director of education.
So that they can be compensated.
Yes, for what
to write the second batch.
Yes, and I'm sorry, nobody talk about that. Nobody talk about those from the rural areas who have to walk. You remember when we were even kids? Some of us used to take our small yams and cocoa yam and walk for about 5 miles or this in 2 miles to go before we go to school and go on. So I believe sincerely that there's a problem there, they have not yet solved it. And those children who could not write, due to financial problem or otherwise. Because sometimes your father will tell you in the village that if you go stop, he doesn't care.
You mean right now, in this day and age?
It happening this day you can get, because when you go to areas, 5 Ghana cedis is too much money for somebody in the rural area.
Okay, we have to wrap up on this. But if there are going to be fallout, it means that people's lives will be truncated in many respects.
Sure, definitely. As much as I'll support him, but along the line too, I also say that it is the responsibility of the MP to improve education in his constituency, and I know where he comes from. We grew up together, and so it's his duty, at least, for the fact that those guys are coming from the rural place, especially where he mentioned overseas. There are about 14 villages.
Well, he's doing it though, but he's worried about the number of...
No, I mean, this is what I'm saying. As much as I will support him, but along the line, I mean, it's not all MPs who can do that, but it's important. If you want to improve the education in your area, you have to do it. 2, is, I mean, for me, it's proper that the West Africa Examinations Council should carry out a statistical check to be able to see the difference between those who wrote the earlier one and those writing today. To
see whether there are differences in the those who appear to write?
Attendance.
Yes,
okay.
Attendance.
The attendance.
The difference.
You see, the fact is that...
You're envisaging there could be some shortfall?
Oh, yes, definitely, of course. Even in the cities, there are those who might not be able to come. There are those communication will not reach them, especially in the villages. You will find it difficult to get information. And somebody, once he finishes his paper, he's going to another village to go and
work. But why are you talking as if we're living in some Amazon?
I was born in a village.
No, please.
But you were born in a village decades ago.
See, listen,
so
we are in Ghana. Don't let us pretend as if we are in Europe.
So I have also traveled around the country and been to some of the
I've been around with you. Yes. But you were surprised saying that, have I ever been an MP before? Don't forget that you followed me to Adan. See the fence when I was Minister for Western Housing. But today you were asking me. But the point is that don't see me sitting here very nice. I was born in a village. I used to walk from a village called Polo.
But so I do understand that. But conditions also have improved in many of the villages as well. That's what I want to point out.
In some villages too. It still persists in some villages. We should not belabor this thing. But it is very clear. We should not defend the indefensible. You see how it is. I can give you a village somewhere in Salaga North. And I can tell you it will take you, especially in the rainy season, you can't go there. Rainy season.
A lot of the villages.
And let's pray that those children are already in places like Polibi or Tamale before there's any downpour there. It's very painful, especially even as an adult, when you go to write an exam and you come home and you hear that your exams have been cancelled. My brother, you cannot eat. Because psychologically the child is already traumatized. Once he gets into the exams room, it takes him or her some time to regain the confidence. Because the point is, after all, I'm going to write, it's possible by the end of the day, the papers will be cancelled. So he's writing with half mind on cancellation of the exams, half mind, okay, I'll pass, let me write. So you see, these are some of the problems we need to be checking. Why do we have mock exams? You prepare the fellow for science. Even if there be leakages, they should leak it during mock exams, not during the real examination time. You see how it is. But in all, I mean, I don't see why the leakages.
Mock exams are internal.
You prepare the fellow with good. I've seen a lot of people who have sent very excellent results to embassies. In the end, they go to the universities abroad and they become wanton. You disgrace the country. So we need to prepare chaps who would defend us, because these are our economic assets, the future of the whole country. So it is very important.
Okay, well, the talks between government and the Ghana Medical Association has hit a snag, we're told, after the medical personnel refused to sign a framework provided by the Health Ministry. We know this is also coming on the back of the fact that the Ghana Medical Association had given government by the close of June. We know the close of June will be by tomorrow. If they don't get the framework put in place and subsequently signing, they will abruptly, in bulk, resign. That is going to affect the health system, we're told. But negotiations should be far advanced by now. At least the government would not allow for this to be far deep-seated.
I think this issue has been in the air for a very long time, almost about 3 months today, when the Ghana Medical Association had been making certain demands for their service conditions. And I think it is very proper, and I'll appeal to the government to go back to the negotiation table. I've been a minister for labor before,
sure,
and I know how it is. And especially, this is a very important sector as far as, health is concerned. If we make a mistake, one day, the medical staff should go on strike. It's going to affect the whole nation. We should not think that, oh, people will rise up against them. No. And it is because of these stalemates and other things we stall issues for a very long time. By the time you see Jack, most of them might have left the country. As we speak, because of what is, most of them, let me praise them, they are nationalists. They serve the nation. The government too has suffered on them. We have paid for them. They are also paying their dues. But at least we should recognize them, you see. And I also want to advise that they go back and sit with government, say that they'll be able to have certain trade-offs. You don't expect to get every demand that you make. At the end of the day, the government will also have to make a trade-off of certain things. It has to give up certain issues. That's why whenever a government is supposed to prepare its budget, you have advanced arrangements between the government and the employees. You see how it is? Normally you have a tripartite negotiations. But then at the end of the day, you have certain special agencies within that sector. And so for them, you don't normally have to waste time. As quickly as possible. The Minister of Labor should have engaged himself a very long time before this thing comes out. Well, I trust the gentleman might have been doing it behind the scenes, but maybe he's gone to a point that he couldn't hold it. That's why it's come out, and now the Medical Association is threatening. And it's true. If we don't do that, it is going to cause a lot of troubles for this economy. We should not make that mistake. If hospitals, doctors move out of the hospitals, the clinics, polyclinics, is going to affect us. Emergencies, who is going to attend to them? You see how it is?
We could have a health crisis on our
health crisis,
okay,
and that is serious. So I'll advise the government to look at it carefully.
Is it that we've not been proactive, especially over the last couple of years, in dealing with labor crisis or labor
I have several
management?
Questions to ask.
Raise them.
One, under what conditions are the doctors working now? Because I know when you are appointed, your appointment letter spelled out your condition of service.
Well, true. But over time, your conditions also are renegotiated.
So
I don't think that you're speaking...
You see...
no, that is why I am coming, because I just want to be cleared as a decent way on. You see, because, sometimes what is wrong with us is that, and I don't want it to play normally positive on. What is wrong with that? We know that they are working in a sensitive area. And because of that, I don't know their condition of service. Because when you get appointment letter, the condition of service must, of course, you have to renew it anytime you go on. You must review the appointment. For example, when I saw that they said that they were going to resign and block, I was surprised. I said, oh, were they appointed the same day? Were they given whatever it is and go on? What is the condition of service spelled out in their letter or something going on?
Well, they are taking a mass action. It's a mass action.
So that will tantamount to strike and not resign. Excuse me if you go
sure. They want to resign. Yeah, tender in their resignation.
No, well, because if I employ you, I give you a condition to your letter, and conditions the way you want to resign you should fulfill, and the condition for you to terminate your employment you should fulfill. They are there.
But don't forget that it's not permanent.
Good. Of course, all conditions are subject to review. All conditions, and I'm saying that if they think that condition is minimal and it's not subject to review, and they want to review it, we'll look at it. And if we are reviewing condition of service, should that amount to threat? Should that amount to, excuse me for the man, put the doctors like any other labor. I know they are this sensitive work will go on. Will that amount to, maybe the condition of service they are working is not correct. But if they say they don't have a condition of service, because I heard someone say that is why I'm at loss. Why were they employed in the first place? What's the letter spelled out for them going on? I don't know. I'm at loss. That's why I said I need those to answer. But if the conditions are not good enough and they want to change it, fine.
That's precisely the reason why.
So if you want to change your condition of service, I think I give you the floor to know. If you want to change your condition of service, it takes time and go on. In particular, in their condition, I don't know whether they work under the labor minister before. Did they work under the conditions of the civil service or not? Because when they were employed, I believe they were treated as civil service at that time under the Ministry of Health. I don't know.
But their conditions have been negotiated.
Fine. So if you are negotiating conditions, and like right now there are deniers and counter deniers. When I did that because like the PRO is saying that they have not changed any content and go on. And conditions of service, employer must
the PRO's commenters will put in perspective because his comments
employer must be, because
really annoy the doctors.
You see what they are talking here, they are talking of the employer. I don't want to see the as a government, it could be an employer. Employer must also be in the position to satisfy your condition. He must be. Because there must be ability to pay. If you give me condition of service, I am the employer. I'm employing you.
Well, I do understand your point.
And therefore, if I'm employing you...
But also, their services are very important.
Yes, everybody's service, I know it is very important. But please, this is why we are having this country go on. Whenever we play politics and things will go on, we have the problem will go on. Their conditions are very, very important, so it's other conditions too. Maybe the farmer doesn't cook for him to eat, he will not go to the hospital.
One condition is more important than the other.
Very fine. I'm not belittling whatever they go, but I'm saying is I'm saying that as they are doctors and they go on, this is a professional body. That is a long time. Well, the medical profession is one of the longest profession you can get and go on. And they could have easily have a condition of service. If they now want to renegotiate the condition of service, and they will need to look at it at the both sides, as he's saying, the government will have to trade off, and they also have to trade off and look at it. There must be ability for the government to satisfy that conditions. There must be.
Well, that's why we're here.
See,
because we always pull it back. Yeah.
What I can say here is that, you see, for me, if I recount my past, I had been in the labor ministry for 1.5 years. And it's on record. There had never been any strike in this country when I was there. And the Ghana Medical Association is one of the most important
and
sensitive areas. And in fact, the time I was appointed, I went to meet them, then struggling with my predecessor, who was then Kofi Ada. You see, I took over from Kofi Ada. And he had a problem with the Ghana Medical Association, and I had to take over. But I don't know whether it was a baptism they gave me when I got in, and within 2 weeks, the matter had been resolved. And you see, for condition of service, it has never been permanent. It's something that is renegotiable.
Every 2 years, depending
every year or every 2 years. Because Ghana, as it is, we don't have any better permanent economic conditions. At any point in time, our economic conditions keep changing.
So whatever you earn in is always...
Exactly. And fuel is more or less the main determinant of the living or survival of any person in this economy. So as soon as there's a little increase in fuel, it has a cyclical effect. And so definitely the Ghana Medical Association will come in and say, look, our condition of service, we need to look at it. And I think it's something it cuts across all institutions and ministries in the country.
We know that it's an important service they all render. And so sometimes the feeling is that they try to blackmail. Well, we do understand that. But how can we resolve this forthwith? For example, we have Ghanaian students who have been trained outside, okay? And they go with a very grades for which they've not been accepted in the medical institutions. You go to countries, they have not a glut per se of the medical institution, of the medical professionals, but they have more than enough. And so if you say you want to resign en bloc, you can choose to resign, but you can still get other people to fill in some areas.
But not Ghana.
Why? Why don't we find a panacea to the human resource difficulty we have with medical doctors?
Well, I think, first of all, let's get it right. I think we have, is it Fair Wages Commission?
The Fair Wages Commission.
Exactly, the Fair Wages Commission is there. If the Fair Wages Commission has come in place to take over by these tripartite meetings and so forth, if they have been, once they are there, I believe they should have settled this matter with them, rather than allowing the thing to grow, and then it becomes some, animal that we cannot control. It is very, very important. So government has to look at it carefully. Two, most of the people, I think about a year or 2 ago, 2 years ago, I believe the president paid for some students to go to, is it Cuba?
Cuba.
You know, so if it had been consistent, say every year you take them there, then at the end of the day, when they come in, these things will not happen. Two, I remember when I was in youth employment, there was a model. You know, one of the models was to do with nursing assistants. If we train them more and flat them and give them proper education, at the end of the day, we'll even come to a point where we'll be exporting. India do the same thing. India right now sometimes do export. Malaysia, they do the same thing. Cuba, I think Pakistan. Philippines. They do sort of
they export doctors and nurses.
We need to come.
It's part of their...
Exactly. We need to look at it carefully and see. But it doesn't mean that you should train them en masse with anybody. You must be selective in the training.
Focus.
Yeah, exactly. You see.
Well, maybe to come specifically to your question, you're talking about the human resources deficit.
Yes, for medical doctors.
Yeah, the medical. Yeah. Well, maybe the health.
Because we have a certain control.
The health sector in general.
To get to medical school, they say you need a lot more money.
Because as I'm telling you that my daughter has 7H1B in Holy Child. She couldn't get medicine. Yes, 7H1B, as I'm talking, that she's given by chemistry at
this one you have to go and train her in China or something.
Well, I don't know. I'm only telling you that this has come. They complain that the facilities, which quite agree with you, are not adequate to train the people. You know, you must have the right facilities to train the people. In training in the medical field, it's not just get up and go there like the humanity. You sit down. You need to have certain facilities very good to go. But my question is, why can't we expand the facility or have 2 models? It is not in the Western world. Like some come in the models, these do, and the other 2 also we train, like I say. Like he
some medical doctors are training in the evening. In the US,
like he was saying, if we have enough of them, we could also have even export some of them, like he suggested, like Filipino and the rest do on. So for me, maybe the government has to take a second look at the facility at the medical school. And now we seem to have how many medical schools? About 4. UCC, KUNST, University of Ghana, and the UDS, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, they could even include other universities.
Maybe
and at the same time, I remember when UDS started, they used to come to do their workmanship or most of their job at KUST or Kolego until now they turn the Tamale Hospital to teaching hospital and go on. So let's expand the facilities. Because like you mentioned very well, how can somebody get 7 A's? Even 4 A's is enough to go and do medicine. You don't even need to go to 5 A's or 6. So the facilities are to put and go on, and it's up to the government and the medical school to sit down, increase the human resources of that area. But notwithstanding that, I think that this issue you have brought in, I hope tomorrow when they sit up, they will come with a resolution that will compromise.
Okay.
I mean, when they have their meeting, that will compromise for we Ghanaians to know that they are not trying to take the government at ransom, because your employer too has a responsibility, you too have a responsibility.
Okay, I have 10 minutes. I know we can discuss this thoroughly. This is a huge issue, the subject of Ghana's economy. We're just getting reports from the Volta River Authority that they are planning to reduce the operation of their capacity. And so likely we're going to have increased load shedding because they want to shut down one of the turbines. Okay. But we know the effect of the energy crisis on the economy. And Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia also has been speaking at a luncheon, a fundraising program in London, and saying that investors are fast losing confidence in Ghana's economy. I want to start with you. It's a situation that's closely interlinked, I believe. We're having a lot of issues.
Of course, energy affects it's like the lifeblood of any economic sector. I mean, like the blood of money, you can do, and of course, naturally, nobody can deny that the rationing of energy or the shortage of energy has some sort of effect on the economy. But what I say, I beg to differ. I don't want it to go because that investors are losing confidence in the Ghanaian economy. Investors can invest in the energy sector too. It's part of the investment we are doing, and which they are doing. People are investing in the energy sector because investors take opportunity wherever there are opportunity and go invest in there. And investors are investing in the energy sector. And then he wants to say that Ghana defaulted on the, is it Barclays or Standard?
Standard.
This is going on. Where did he get that information? You remember he ever said that at the African Development Bank, which turned out to be a horse or something like that, concerning that Ghana defaulted in pay Africa, that they were even short blacklisted or something like that. I don't know. For me, because Bamia is one of the nicest economists of the gone. So when he talk, we need to listen. But some of these things, he should come out clear with evidence. Yes, we are all the politicians, but sometimes you don't play much politics in the economy. Because most of the things he's saying, he should come out with, because right now, rather investors are coming into the country. Yes, because once one door is closed, another door is open. And I said, for example, the energy sector, a lot of investors are there. You saw what the president listed, a lot of investment in the energy sector. Are there investors? Go to the Ghana Free Zone and see a lot of investors coming there. Somebody did say, I can tell you right now, it's going on. So for me, I didn't want to, but it needs to come to very clear, maybe to use his word, come up with better particulars for us to know to use his words or something like that. And I don't want to.
And everybody feels this is just a situation of politics, but really, we've had the AGI, the various business associates, the chambers, etc., come out to say, and even various observatory reports by the media, pinpointing that the energy crisis and what we're having with the fall of the forex rate, etc., really having the toll on businesses. And so perhaps, even though they would want to come in, the rate of return will not be the same when they want to take their investment out.
You see, the Honorable Day himself knows it. He's trying to defend the indefensible. You wait, let me talk. You see, the point is that as with energy crisis, the fact that he said investors have lost confidence, a lot of industries have shut down. They've shut down. And you know the effect, the negative effect of shutting down industries in an economy. Look at what is going to happen. Once you close down your industry, you are going to lay off workers. What happens? Effect on one person is going to have a ripple effect on a lot of people back home and economy itself. Not in advanced countries when an industry is going off, going bankrupt, the government has to come and bail it out because the company pays taxes, the workers, they pay taxes. So if you lay them off, it's going to be a problem. So government will be there for them to bail them out. But here, you have a lot of companies have shut down. We have a lot of steel companies. You go to Tema, they've shut down. Rubber companies, they've shut down. You see how it is. Now, the free zone companies that you are talking about, most of them are not producing for this country. So they have their own standby generators. Because 70% of most of their products have to leave the economy.
Yeah.
You see how it is. So he doesn't care whatever is happening in this economy. So long as he has a free zone enclave, and with the free zone concept, you people have to make sure that there are dedicated utilities. So whether you like it or not.
Because it's part of the agreement.
Yes. So you provide.
Apart from the taxes that they'll be enjoying.
Exactly.
Incentives.
So he's a member of the free zone. He knows it. He has quickly mentioned free zone. Meanwhile, forgetting that you have constant and permanent energy for them. But what about the other ones and the infant industries that are growing? It is not government alone that has to do the job.
Exactly.
We know. But then, you know, we always say it. The private sector is the engine of growth. And it is the private sector that set up these small industries. And they mop up the unemployed people within the setup. So if we have energy crisis, definitely it will happen. And so I'm appealing to government to look at it, and especially with ECG. Some of your energy crisis you are talking of these badges won't work. The badges won't last. I'm telling you, those badges, they are not sustainable. We need to be careful about this. The electricity that will be generated by the badges that is coming from Turkey
those are for
be sustainable.
Emergency. That, of course, I agree with you.
Yes.
Because they are for emergency situation. But the permanent one are the Atobo gas, the one that
let me say Atobo will pass at all.
I think
Atobo has not. It's not even helping. So relax.
But the issue of Dr. Baumia, the issue. I'm glad
because he raised an issue with Dr. Baumia that we have to put politics aside.
Yes.
So at what point do you have to say...
I don't think Baumia will have gone to that level to mention that Ghana...
Because his reputation would have been at stake.
Exactly.
Yeah, but he said that at the African Development Bank.
Oh, he said a lot of things.
In the African Development Bank, it
Yeah.
turned out not to be right. Because African
sure?
Development came and developed. African Development came and
I don't think he was entirely wrong.
No, he wasn't entirely
No,
wrong.
no. In fact,
Look,
the way
actually memos
the way
were
he
produced
put
that.
it,
Okay.
No.
But the point is that I still stand by what Baumia said.
What he's saying that you'll be very sure
Currently,
that
there are
this
some
standard
of your
chartered
days
government
you have not serviced yet.
Oh, and for them, they already said.
So accept what he has said.
No, he said that no. He is saying that we are not able. He said that we are not able to meet our debt. Look,
No.
When you say
Let's
a
go
country,
to
it means
the.
a country is bankrupt.
Let's go to what he said about the Standard Bank.
And the country
Yeah,
is
this is what he said about the former
but
governor of the central deputy
now
governor
you have
says
not been able
government
to
has
pay your-
defaulted in the repayment of a loan from Standard Bank for a military project.
He has defaulted.
Yes.
And that's
Default
why
that you mean that you have reduced.
I don't know what it
They-
is too.
You want
Because-
evidence?
Yes, I want evidence because he has said it
But
before.
he
it turned out
himself,
to be
you
right.
know, when we say you have not paid your debt, we are not saying you haven't paid the total debt. You have a repayment schedule.
Oh yes.
So maybe defaulted.
You have defaulted a particular term.
I understand what
Hey,
you're
hey,
saying.
so
That's
don't
all right.
argue.
Now listen, either you're supposed to pay 15, but you are paying on 20.
Exactly.
Or something of the
So
sort.
you
What I'm
Because
saying
you
is this
accept-
statement is with hindsight of what has happened with African Development Bank.
We
I'm
have
here
to-
to have a
you see the black
better
man.
particulars.
We have to question
better
it. You see.
particulars to question.
But
this
I'm
one.
defending that this one is right.
How can you know this is right? Of course, I know you're the bank.
Okay.
Going to go.
Yes.
How can you know? Bring the evidence.
All right.
I'll
Where's the evidence
produce
now?
it.
I'll
All
let
right.
you produce
So
evidence.
that'll be it for our discussions this morning. And thanks very much for passing
our
through our
pleasure.
studios.
It's our
And it's been a privilege
It's our
having
pleasure.
you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
My senior colleague.
Yes.
And
Yes.
okay, and thanks also to you, Alhaji Day. I have had in the studio my guest for the morning, Alhaji Abubakar Sadiq Boniface, a former Minister for Works and Housing. Currently, the MPP parliamentary candidate for Medina, had been a member of parliament also for Salaga. Thanks for
He wants
yes,
to come and destroy
a former minister for Labour
It's my brother.
and employment, and also
worry, you are
Alhaji Ibrahim Day Abubakar, member of parliament for Salaga South, in the studio as well. And thanks for joining me.
Yes.
And had been a long-standing auditor and a finance person. Thanks for joining me. A member of the following committees in parliament: local government and rural development, public accounts committee. And that'll be it for our discussions on AM Talk this morning. Next, we have a lot more for you. Stay on.
East Lagos.